Infiniti QX30 is a strange proposition. Based on the same underpinnings as one of its principal rivals, the Mercedes-Benz GLA, it shares its bodywork with the Q30 hatchback, but sits a little higher and boasts 5 mm wider body cladding. If any car embodies the marketing fluff of the crossover genre, blending both hatchback and SUV virtues, it's surely the QX30. Its rivals include the Mini Countryman and Volvo V40 Cross Country, or if your budget will stretch that far, arguably the Range Rover Evoque 2. It's a premium vehicle, with an eye-catching design and lots of safety and driver assistance features. Automatic and all-wheel drive. Only all versions of the QX30 feature a part-time all-wheel drive AWD and a 7-speed twin-clutch automatic gearbox, which means no matter whether you pick petrol or diesel, you'll have a car that's easy to drive and capable enough to deal with slippery surfaces. To match with the more premium nature of the QX30 compared with its hatchback sibling, Infiniti's smaller 1.5-liter diesel and 1.6-liter petrol engines don't make the grade. Instead, just the larger power plants are offered. That means you can have a 2.0-liter petrol with 211 horsepower, badged 2.0 tons, or a 2.1-liter diesel with 170 horsepower that Infiniti's cheekily made sound larger by calling it 2.2D. Both engines, sourced from Mercedes, are turbocharged, but while you don't exactly get sizzling performance, they're not slow either. The petrol is the faster, achieving the 0.62 mph sprint in 7.3 seconds, while the diesel takes 8.5 seconds. These engines boast 42 miles per gallon and 58 miles per gallon respectively. Smart and well-insulated cabin. The well-finished interior from the Q30 is carried over, including comfortable seats and a noise-canceling system on the diesel that makes for a very well-insulated cabin. Though it sits higher than the Q30, 45 mm taller than sport models, the company has stiffened the QX30's suspension so its handling doesn't suffer. Don't expect any hot hatchback-style handling, however. The way the QX30 drives is perfectly fine, but it's not particularly exciting. High-tech safety and assistance features. Infiniti claims the QX30 is the easiest car to park in its segment thanks to a combination of a 360-degree camera, automatic parking and moving object detection system. Radar-guided cruise control has also been introduced, but unlike some rival cars, Infiniti has used a special plating technique for its front badge, allowing the radar to hide behind it and eliminating untidy grille addenda. Further tech comes in the form of the firm's InTouch multimedia system, which includes a 7.0-inch touchscreen controlled in a similar way to smartphones, via swipe and touch commands. A voice control system is also included. The verdict: the QX30 feels very different from the Mercedes-Benz G-Class it's based on, and like that car, it's not exactly at the sharp end of the SUV market sector. It's appealing and quirky for those who like to stand out from the crowd, but just because it's materially different, it's not better than its more talented rivals. You only need to see our 2017 group test of best stylish SUVs to see what alternatives are out there for those who want to cut a dash. To find out more about this not entirely unfamiliar offbeat crossover, read on for the full Infiniti QX30 SUV review. Simple engine range with two choices. Q30's smaller engines not carried over. You can pick a 2.0-liter petrol or 2.1-liter diesel. There's a trimmed down range here compared with what you get in the Q30 hatchback. The 1.5 and 1.6-liter engines are off the agenda, with just two larger 4-cylinder units sourced from Mercedes-Benz on offer. QX30 2.0 tons petrol. Of the two units on offer, the 2.0-liter petrol offers more power and pace but makes a little less sense due to its increased running costs. It's a second faster than the diesel from 0.62 mph, clocking in at 7.3 seconds, and goes on to a higher top speed of 143 mph. That's largely thanks to its 211 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque, although the latter is matched by the diesel engine. It's a bit more refined than the diesel but still sounds strained when pushed hard, and doesn't offer much in the way of excitement or intrigue. QX30 2.2D diesel. Ignore what the 2.2D badging suggests. The diesel engine under the QX30's bonnet is Mercedes' familiar, but clattery, 2.1-liter unit. While it's slower than the petrol, it's not by much, plus it costs less to run and feels punchier in the middle of the rev range. Its 170 horsepower and 350 Nm of torque means this version of the QX30 take 8.4 seconds to get from 0 to miles per hour, and it tops out at 134 miles per hour. Although it should be a reliable motor, it is now starting to feel its age, particularly when pushed hard when it becomes quite noisy. Infiniti employs special noise-canceling technology specifically for this engine, and while it helps to a degree, it's not entirely effective. Automatic in the gearbox, only one choice here. All QX30 models use a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox, unlike the Q30 which offers a manual. It does a decent job and feels well matched to either engine, although it's a bit hesitant and only really comes alive when you take control of it with the steering wheel mounted paddles. Infiniti QX30 features comfort-biased suspension. It still steers and grips well but doesn't offer much fun. Standard all-wheel drive boosts traction. Standard fit all-wheel drive means you high levels of traction, but there isn't much fun to be had pushing the limit of the tires. The QX30 rolls around like its hatchback stablemate, the Q30, despite the fact it features a revised suspension setup. In addition, you get a raised ride height and off-road styling, but we wouldn't recommend you attack any tricky green lanes or quarries in the QX30. It'll tackle a campsite or mud track, but that's about its limit. The steering is surprisingly good. It reacts quickly to small movements of the heavy wheel and gives the QX30 a feeling of poise. It's quite heavy though, offering little feedback to what is going on under the front wheels. This means it can be quite hard work to park or navigate around a tight and twisty city route. The better value Toyota CHR is better in this respect. Mercedes-Benz switchgear and dials attractively styled with decent materials used. Satnav graphics are starting to look dated. We were impressed by the Q30's cockpit when we first drove it, and it's identical to the QX30 interior. Things have moved on a bit since then though, and this car is now starting to feel a bit dated, despite being relatively new. Still, the build quality is good and the stylish sweep of the dashboard is attractive, with decent-feeling materials used throughout. Loads of switches and dials have come straight from the Mercedes-Benz GLA, and while that isn't a bad thing, it does erode the individuality of the Infiniti. Doesn't suit taller drivers as with the Q30. You sit oddly high up in the QX30, and the optional panoramic glass sunroof takes up even more headroom. If you're over 6 feet tall, you might find yourself banging your head on the roof, which is obviously not optimal. Equally, the large wheel feels like it gets in the way of those with longer legs. We're also not huge fans of the InTouch multimedia system. Rivals from Audi, BMW and Mercedes-Benz are all better. It's just a bit slow to respond and the graphics don't look particularly up to date. Decent tried on the motorway, not so much on rural roads. Good seats but high driving position considering the sporty nature of most cars in this segment. The QX30 actually has a refreshingly comfortable ride. There's a caveat here though. Although it deals with big lumps and bumps well, it feels suitably firm over poor road surfaces and potholes. The seats are squashy enough, but there's not really enough interior space for 5, so comfort levels will be compromised if you fill the QX30 with passengers. Quiet cabin when cruising. The petrol engine is the quieter of the two, even though the diesel features noise-canceling technology. It's hard to say how effective this is because you can't turn it off, but the simple fact is that clatter from the 2.1-liter diesel motor is still audible in the cabin. Still, if you're just bumbling around at low revs on the motorway, for example, the QX30's cabin is a peaceful place. Just stay away from the accelerator pedal. 2 trim levels with a long standard kit list. Premium tech adds things like LED headlights. Not that many options to choose from. Infiniti has kept things relatively easy in this respect. There are 2 trim levels called Premium and Premium Tech, plus a handful of option packs. Standard Infiniti QX30 SUV equipment. The entry-level premium trim lives up to its name with a long list of standard kit. Externally, the QX30 has 18-inch alloys, satin chrome window trim, roof rails and bumper inserts plus plastic wheel arch moldings and side sills. There's a suite of LEDs, including daytime running lights, front fog lamps and rear combination lights, although the headlights themselves are halogen. The door mirrors are heated and electrically adjustable and feature puddle lamps, while the exhaust has a chrome finish. What's the interior like? Inside, the cloth seats feature height adjustment and powered lumbar support on the driver's side, while the rear bench folds 4060. There's shiny black interior trim plus a leather multi-function steering wheel, with reach and rake adjustment. In terms of gadgetry, you get rear parking sensors, lane departure warning, auto lights and wipers, auto-dimming rear view and driver's door mirror, dual-zone climate control and rear vent center console, heated windscreen washer jets and cruise control with speed limiter. The 7.0-inch touchscreen infotainment system features SatNav, DAB, traffic sign recognition, voice control and Bluetooth streaming. There are also USB ports with smartphone and iPod connectivity. Upgrade to premium tech and you get loads of extra technology, unsurprisingly. Kicking things off are LED headlights with smart high beam, front power seats with memory, keyless entry and start, plus a rear view camera with front and rear parking sensors. There are also several styling upgrades including chrome door handles, suede headliner, leather seats, plus a rear center armrest with cup holders. Optional Infiniti QX30 SUV extras as well as a collection of metallic paint options. You can also spec privacy glass for rear windows and tailgate, glass roof with electric sunshade, and a Bose stereo. Other options come in packs and some are restricted to which trim level you go for. The Tech Pack is an option for premium cars and adds automatic park assistance with a round view monitor, front and rear parking sensors with display keyless entry system and engine start button, chrome overlay on the exterior door handles. There's also a cafe teak style pack for premium tech cars which adds chocolate Napa leather seats with graphite inserts and black stitching, satin silver door mirrors with LED indicators, aluminum kick plates, privacy glass for rear windows and tailgate. Similar Infiniti Q30 has a 5-star Euro NCAP rating, decent standard kit but not much driver assistance, optional safety pack for top spec cars only, while the Infiniti QX30 doesn't have its own Euro NCAP. The Q30, upon which it is largely based, was given the full 5 stars. There's a decent list of standard safety kit, including ABS, traction control, forward collision warning, plus 7 airbags. However, if you want things like blind spot warning, automatic parking with a round view monitor, and adaptive cruise control, you'll want the safety pack. This is an optional extra that can be fitted only to top spec premium tech cars, so if you pick a base spec QX30 you'll miss out. How many ISOFIX car seats can I fit in an Infiniti QX30 SUV? You can have just 2, fitted to the outer rear chairs, because there's no front seat mounting point option. The good news is the raised ride height makes it easier to lift child seats and children into the car. 5 seats but comfortable space for 4. Boot is reasonable but not class-leading. Interior is cramped despite exterior dimensions. There's not as much room as you'd expect from the external dimensions. The QX30 looks like quite a large car from outside, but in reality it only has room for 4 adults inside. What's more, those in the rear will feel hard done by in terms of head and legroom, so you might want to prioritize the front seats for taller passengers. The Infiniti QX30 looks large from the outside, mainly thanks to its jacked-up suspension and off-road cladding, which both increase the visual impact of the car. In reality though, it's the same size as any other 5-door family hatchback and will fit in most parking spaces you'll find in the UK. Where it does suffer a bit in this respect is the weight of the steering, which turns any arm-twirling, inner-city maneuvers into a workout. The boot is reasonable, with 420 liters on offer, smaller than the Mercedes-Benz GLA it's based on. Getting things into the boot is relatively easy thanks to its large, square opening, but the lip you have to lift things over it quite high.